We are now joined by SNY's NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano. And Ralph, if Glennon is on his way to Chicago and Jay Cutler is leaving Chicago, how likely a landing spot for Cutler is the New York Jets?
Well, I tell you what, a few weeks ago, I wouldn't have told you it was likely at all because it didn't sound like the Jets wanted him, but their options are dwindling. They did make a call on the first day of free agency to talk to Cutler's agent to at least express some interest, so it's a possibility. He makes some sense as a stopgap quarterback, a guy you could bring in for a year and have a young quarterback like Christian Hackenberg who'll learn behind him. He's certainly not their long-term option, but look, if you want to put a winner of any kind on the field this coming season, you're going to have to get a veteran somewhere, and there just aren't many left.
If the Jets have to choose between Cutler or bringing back Geno Smith, who do you think they'll pick?
Boy, that's a really tough call. I think they probably would lean towards Cutler. Geno Smith also may not want to come back, which is another part of this equation. From what I've heard, he wants to have a fresh start. He also has to get healthy. He's coming off the ACL surgery, and he might end up having some options that he'll think are better places to go. So if those are their only two options, I think Jay Cutler probably is the better option, but it's still not a great one.
All right, let's switch gears to the Giants now. And as a Notre Dame grad, I was hoping for the Verona, New Jersey native Anthony Fasano to come back and sign with the Giants, but they went somewhere else for tight end.
They did. They went to Rhett Ellison, tight end from the Vikings. They paid a lot of money for him, relatively, considering he doesn't have much of a history as a receiver. This is a blocking tight end. He's very much like, if you remember at the beginning of last year, they signed Will Johnson to be a tight end, fullback, H-back type of guy. They're getting him mostly because obviously their run game blocking and their pass blocking was pretty bad last season, and they can't shop for the deep end offensive tackles in this market because that market has gone crazy. So instead, they redirected some of their resources, and they got a guy who hopefully can help their struggling offensive line.
All right, let's follow up there, though. As you've been reporting throughout the offseason, the number one priority has been offensive line. Where do they turn to next to try to shore that up?
Well, it's a good question. Maybe the draft. There are some tackles that they can go to in the draft that might be available at number 23. But I think what they're going to do, they're going to need a right tackle and a right guard because Marshall Newhouse and John Jerry are both free agents. They're going to bring in guys like that, guys who are low-level free agents. Maybe those guys, they could end up, John Jerry certainly could end up coming back, but you're going to look at bargain bin, one-year type free agents who can come in and fill a gap, and hopefully they'll draft some young players who eventually can take over that role.
Ralph Vacchiano, SNY's NFL insider, thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.